I went downstairs to return a serving tray and froze when I heard my own son laughing behind the kitchen door. Vanessa clinked her champagne glass against his and whispered, "This old woman is nothing more than our maid and a free ATM." They had no idea that the luxurious $3.5 million villa they were celebrating inside still belonged entirely to me. Less than 24 hours later, one phone call to my attorney would leave them staring at a legal notice that destroyed every plan they had ever made. Before we begin, dear friends, please help me. Your subscription is very valuable to me. Please subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. My name is Evelyn. I am 68 years old. For 42 years I worked as a financial compliance officer for one of the largest investment firms in Chicago. Numbers never lied. Contracts never forgot. And people always revealed themselves if you watched long enough. My husband, Richard, passed away 8 years earlier. Before cancer took him, we spent months putting every family asset into a carefully structured estate plan. Every document was reviewed by attorneys. Every signature was witnessed. Every clause existed for one reason: to protect everything we built from greed disguised as family. At least, that was what we believed. The ballroom glittered with gold balloons spelling out "Happy Birthday, Leo." My grandson had just turned 8. More than 100 guests filled the rented hall connected to our estate. Expensive floral arrangements lined every table. The smell of grilled filet mignon drifted through the room while a live jazz trio played beside the dance floor. Everyone complimented Vanessa. Everyone praised Ethan. Nobody noticed who had quietly paid the $84,000 bill for the entire celebration. I smiled politely while carrying another tray of desserts into the kitchen. Vanessa had insisted it was easier if I helped out. Helping out somehow meant arriving before sunrise, decorating tables, supervising caterers, cleaning spilled drinks, calming impatient vendors, and comforting crying children while she posed for photographs wearing a $6,800 designer dress she claimed was a birthday gift from Ethan. I knew Ethan's salary. There was absolutely no chance he had paid for that dress. As I placed the tray onto the marble counter, I realized I had forgotten Leo's special birthday candles in the pantry. I turned back. That single decision changed everything. Their voices floated through the half-open pantry door. Vanessa laughed first. Then Ethan answered with a confidence that made my stomach turn cold. Neither of them knew I had stopped breathing just a few feet away, hidden behind the wooden door, listening to every careless word they believed would never reach my ears. Vanessa lowered her voice. Honestly, Ethan, your mother still thinks she's respected. She doesn't realize she's simply useful. Ethan chuckled. Let her believe that. She enjoys feeling needed. Meanwhile, every mortgage payment, every insurance premium, every utility bill, every vacation, somehow comes from her account. They laughed together. The sound echoed through the pantry like breaking glass. I expected anger. Instead, an unfamiliar calm settled inside me. Years of auditing fraudulent transactions had trained my mind to separate emotion from evidence. Tears solved nothing. Documentation solved everything. I quietly pulled my phone from my apron pocket and activated the voice recorder. Their conversation continued without hesitation. Vanessa bragged, after she signs the transfer, we'll renovate the West Wing and finally remove all those old photographs. Nobody needs reminders of Richard. Ethan answered, the attorney keeps delaying everything, but Mom trusts me. She'll sign whatever I place before her. Vanessa laughed again. She's lonely. Lonely people confuse attention with love. Give her flowers twice a year and she'll finance the rest of our lives. Ethan replied, exactly. Once the property belongs to us, we'll move her into a retirement community. Nothing fancy. Somewhere inexpensive. My fingers tightened around the phone, but my breathing remained steady. Richard had predicted this possibility years before. That was why he insisted every significant asset remain inside the family trust instead of passing automatically through probate. Few people understood the documents because they were intentionally complicated. Even Ethan had never bothered reading them carefully. He assumed being our only child guaranteed ownership. Assumptions often become the most expensive mistakes. I recorded another 6 minutes of conversation. They discussed investment accounts, insurance proceeds, and even my monthly pension as though dividing restaurant leftovers. Vanessa admitted she had already contacted a luxury furniture designer to replace nearly everything inside the villa. She wanted imported Italian marble, custom walnut cabinetry, and a climate-controlled closet costing almost $120,000. Ethan promised everything would happen before Christmas. Then Vanessa whispered something that finally erased every remaining trace of hesitation inside me. If the old woman becomes difficult, we'll tell everyone she's developing dementia. People always believe the younger generation. Those words finished the illusion of family. I ended the recording, slipped the phone back into my pocket, straightened my blouse, picked up the birthday candles, and walked into the hallway wearing the same gentle smile everyone expected. Vanessa thanked me for helping. Ethan kissed my cheek without meeting my eyes. I hugged Leo, sang happily, applauded the cake, and watched the candles flicker. Inside, however, another celebration had already begun. It belonged to patience, preparation, and justice. Before leaving that evening, I quietly texted my attorney, Daniel. 4 simple words appeared on his screen. We begin tomorrow morning. His reply arrived 30 seconds later. Understood. Bring every document. Sleep well. Tomorrow changes everything. I looked once more at my smiling son, his ambitious wife, and the magnificent house they believed was already theirs. They were completely wrong indeed. I arrived at Daniel's office before 8 the next morning carrying 2 leather folders Richard had labeled years earlier. Inside were the trust agreement, property deeds, bank records, notarized letters, and a sealed memorandum that could only be opened if anyone attempted to manipulate or pressure me into transferring family assets. Daniel reviewed the recording first. He removed his glasses, looked directly at me, and quietly said, "This is more than heartbreaking. It is exactly the evidence we needed." Richard had included a protective clause stating that any beneficiary who attempted fraud, coercion, financial exploitation, or false claims against the trustee would immediately lose every beneficial interest in the estate. Daniel smiled for the first time that morning. They activated the clause themselves. Before noon, certified legal notices were prepared. Temporary access to the villa's financial accounts was frozen under the trust's authority. Ethan's authorization on every estate-related account was revoked. The property management company received updated instructions recognizing only me as the authorized decision-maker. By lunchtime, the electronic gate codes had been changed. At 6 that evening, Ethan and Vanessa sat at the dining table expecting another meal I usually prepared. Instead, a courier knocked on the front door. Vanessa signed for the envelope without concern. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Ethan's voice shook with panic. "Mom, there has to be some mistake." I calmly replied, "No, Ethan." The mistake was believing I never listened. He begged to meet immediately. I agreed. When they arrived at Daniel's office the following morning, their confidence had disappeared. Vanessa tried to interrupt repeatedly, but every accusation was answered with another document, another signature, another recording, another legal citation. Daniel finally played the audio from the pantry. The room fell silent. Vanessa lowered her head. Ethan could not even look at me. Daniel slid one final document across the table. Because they had violated the trust's anti-fraud provisions, they forfeited every future claim to the estate. They had 30 days to vacate the villa. They left without another argument because there was nothing left to argue. The law, the evidence, and their own words had defeated them completely. Months later, I converted part of the property into a charitable learning center honoring Richard's memory. Leo visited often. None of what happened was his fault, and I made sure he always knew he was loved. Peace returned to the home that greed had nearly destroyed. I spent my mornings in the garden, my afternoons volunteering, and my evenings watching sunsets from the porch Richard had built with his own hands. Losing illusions hurt. Recovering self-respect healed far more deeply. I no longer carried the burden of supporting people who valued my wallet more than my heart. I carried only gratitude, freedom, and quiet strength. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what you would have done.